So I'm out here and I'm back in Buffalo, about to go for a bike ride downtown. I wouldn't generally think of going biking downtown, but I saw an event for Juneteenth, which actually was yesterday, but it's Monday. This is the day off, and they have these bike rides on Monday evening, so I figured I'd go downtown and check it out. So I'm out here in Lancaster, kind of near the airport, so it's about 10 miles downtown. I didn't realize it's actually not that far, considering, I grew up in Williamsville, New York on Maple Road, and so when we go downtown, it would seem, kind of like a big trip in a very kind of foreign, a very different area than, the suburbs and stuff. So it was kind of funny to realize that it's actually, less than an hour bike ride, basically. And so I took Genesee Road just all the way down to Martin Luther King Park, basically, and I figured there was sidewalks most of the way, which was the case. There's a couple areas where it's a little dangerous, but that's more like around Lancaster or Transit. After you're past like the airport area and stuff, it's not really too bad. You go through some areas that are like either cemeteries or parks. So it's actually not super busy, and there's mostly sidewalks through most of it. And so it took me about, I don't know, just over an hour to get down to the park. So I didn't know much about this event. I had just seen there was some bike activity called Slow Roll, which is a group that meets on Monday evenings for bike trips. And so I figured, yeah, it'd be pretty cool. To be honest, driving down to the east side, it's generally something I wouldn't think of because I don't think there's like a lot of like really good publicity about that area of town. So I was just a little bit concerned, but I think, there's no good news but bad news a lot of the time. So you might think an area is either dangerous or not good for certain reasons, and, it seems fine once you're down there. So I didn't know what to expect. I had just, read about this organization that does these trips, and so I wasn't sure, going to, obviously that area I figured was predominantly black, so I wasn't sure if it was like mostly black people, especially for Juneteenth celebration, or if it was a mixed bag. And it was a mixed bag. There was probably a little more white people than black people, but a pretty good mix. And when I first showed up, I figured there would be like 30-40 people, maybe 50. And man, after an hour or so after we were about to leave, I realized, wow, there must have been about 150 people or something. So pretty cool, big event. They did a real good job with the security and stuff, like on the sides of the roads, they would have people go up ahead, and regardless if it was red or green, they'd make sure, no traffic would go through and hit any of us on our bikes, obviously. Because biking in Buffalo is not super safe, just like most places in America. Even when we started off, the guy mentioned how a 29-year-old girl on Friday was hit and killed, and I guess a couple other people were hit too on their bikes. And then another tragic story too, a young African-American guy was shot over the weekend too, so they did kind of a little bit of a eulogy and stuff about that topic, and yeah, really sad, all these tragedies in general. So yeah, we headed around near MLK Park for a bit. I guess we did probably a total of about an hour and a half at least. And we stopped a couple times and people made some speeches related to like Juneteenth. I'm not sure if you know what Juneteenth is, but it's when basically at the end of the Civil War, a general went into Texas, I think Galveston, Texas, and he declared that, all the slaves were free. in around June 19th in 1865. So they're celebrating that day when, you know, the slaves were free. So it's actually been going on for a long time. I think since that time, they've been celebrating Juneteenth in the South and in many areas. And in Buffalo, they've been celebrating it, I think, since like 1976 or something like that. So a lot of cities have been celebrating this for a few decades. And then just recently, in the last couple weeks, Biden acknowledged it as a federal holiday. So it was a good group of bikers, you know, people from all different backgrounds, you know, from kids to, you know, adults. And the neighborhood itself, too, is quite diverse. I assumed it was mostly African-American, but it looked like there was a lot of people from, like, the Middle East or maybe Pakistan and India and a few other countries. So it was cool. Everyone was waving and really friendly, and it was cool. Some of the roads were a little beat up and stuff like that, but it wasn't too bad. And people would mention, like, you know, be careful of potholes or something like that. And we passed by some cool historical places. There's a lot of, like, old factories downtown in that area. There's the original train station that's abandoned now, and a few, like, abandoned churches and things like that. So it was kind of neat. You know, there's some rundown areas, of course, but it was still cool to check out the area. And then at the end, we came up to where we started in MLK Park, and they had a bunch of food out and beers and stuff like that. They're giving out, you know, they had pizzas and some good local beers from some local brewery. And this one lady had some baked potatoes that were awesome. You should definitely try it out if you're down that way. I'll put her info below. But it was cool to see all different people of different backgrounds, because, you know, you look at social media all the time, you see all these negative things, and it makes us seem super divided, but I imagine we have a lot more in common than we think. So it was good to bring different people from different backgrounds together. And, you know, I'm sure if that kid, you know, who shot up that top store with all those people, I'm sure if he had just hung out with, you know, a few black people, a few friends, he wouldn't have built up so much of that hate. So these kinds of events are definitely really good, I think. And I would have even hung out a bit longer. I had a couple beers, and then I wanted to head back before it got dark. I knew I had about an hour back, and it's not safe to drive at night, obviously. I even bought a $120 front light for my bike just to help, because I've got rear lights, but I wanted one in the front that was super strong and had kind of some like strobe effect. So people, regardless if they're behind or in front of me, could see me, because you do got a couple areas near Lancaster where there's not good sidewalks and stuff. And I think that's a lot of the time where people get hit. So I made it safe, and yeah, it was a great trip. I'd like to go out and meet up with them again. If you're in Buffalo or you haven't heard of it, you know, you can look up the Slow Roll. They've got a website, and they have a list of all their events. I think that goes through September, and really nice way to meet people and get out in the summer. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and I'll have some other cool videos on Western New York. I'll do, you know, Niagara Falls, Letchworth, Watkins Glen, tons of pretty hikes and waterfalls in Western New York. So in the next month or so, I'll have some cool videos. Looking forward to seeing you guys again. I'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.